All humans on Earth can only ever see one face of the moon, and it appears with the face rotated with a degree depending on location. The moon covers the full 360 degrees of rotation. Mainstream science simplifies this fact and states the moon is right side up north of the equator and upside down south of the equator. This isn't true. It appears rotated to different observers in different locations. If the Earth and Moon were both balls, then humans at the far north would see a different face of the moon than those in the far south, with some overlap. The only way we can all see the same face is upon a flat Earth. One can clearly see the moon moving away from the observer, to the vanishing point of a human eye. Eyes are spherical objects that focus light on the lens at the back. The horizon has nothing to do with the shape of the world and everything to do with distance. People are fooled into thinking the horizon is the edge of the curve. Phases. We are told the moon's phases, the 29.53-day rhythm of different degrees of illumination, are from sunlight via the sun's angle to the moon, but this cannot be the case. Below is the mainstream model. But when it is new moon and day in the ball model, we should see a black silhouette. We don't though, we see nothing. We should see a silhouette in the ball model, because the sun is so much bigger than the moon and behind it. Also we can see a nearly full moon in the day. This is not possible on the ball Earth, as during the day, the Earth is facing the sun, red below. The Earth would be in the way of someone trying to see the moon in the daytime. Also, we can sometimes see the sun and moon in the sky at the same time, for some hours in the days just before and just after the full moon. There is nothing between the sun and moon, so the moon should be 100% lit in the ball model. There is nothing obstructing the massive sun's rays, but the moon appears only 4/5 or so illuminated. If the moon was orbiting the Earth, and both were orbiting the sun, then 6 months later the moon's phases should have swapped over, and each lunar month, the phases should appear different. We are told that the sun gives the moon its light for the phases, but if this were the case, during each lunar month, the moon would be at a different angle to the sun. It would be impossible for the phases to remain the same each lunar month, but they do. Study the two images below to get a full understanding of this. These two images both present the same mainstream paradox. A. The moon does what it does with its phases each month. B. The moon goes around the sun with the Earth. One of these has to be wrong, but we are told that both are true. You can see from the two images above that the moon should have a different light reflection from the sun at different locations around the sun, but at the same time and location of its own lunar month. It should actually act like this below, but it doesn't, helping to prove the ball Earth model is a hoax. This might need some contemplation, a pen and paper, or possibly a reread. But it is indisputable. Reflection. The moon cannot be above a ball, or the reflection on the ocean wouldn't reach to the person on the shore, but it does reach an observer on the shore. If the moon were above a ball, the reflection on the ocean would behave much differently. See below where we have pieced in the phantom curvature. Tides. We are told that the gravitational pull of the moon alone creates the tides, but this is also wrong. If the moon was 2,160 miles in diameter and the Earth 8,000 miles in diameter, the Earth would be 87 times larger, and would attract the smaller mass, the moon, to it, not the other way. We are told the Earth's stronger gravity keeps the moon in orbit, so how can the moon's weaker gravity override Earth's gravity at Earth's lowest points, sea level and below sea level? If the magical error-ridden force called gravity existed, all trees would look like willow trees, and all flowers would wilt in an N shape. But that is for another time. The Earth's tides vary greatly. For example, near the Isle of Wight, there are 4 tides a day. Some beaches have tides which go out far, while others not so much. The mainstream map of tides is not uniform, and would not be caused by a single body moving harmoniously across from east to west. If the moon lifted up the water, it is evident that near the land, the water would be drawn away and low instead of high tide caused. Again, the velocity and path of the moon are uniform, and it follows. that if she exerted any influence on the earth, that influence could only be a uniform influence. But the tides are not uniform. At Port Natal, the rise and fall is about 6 feet, while at Barra, about 600 miles up. The coast, the rise and fall is 26 feet. This effectually settles the matter that the moon has no influence on the tides. Tides are caused by the gentle and gradual rise and fall of the earth on the bosom of the mighty deep. In inland lakes, there are no tides, which also proves that the moon cannot attract either the earth or water to cause tides. But the fact that the basin of the lake is on the earth which rests on the waters of the deep shows that no tides are possible, as the waters of the lakes, together with the earth, rise and fall, and thus the tides at the coast are caused, while there are no tides on waters unconnected with the sea. Thomas Winship, Zetetic Cosmogony, 130-131. It is affirmed that the intensity of attraction increases with proximity, and vice versa. How, then, when the waters are drawn up by the moon from their bed, and away from the earth's attraction, which at that greater distance from the center is considerably diminished, while that of the moon is proportionately increased, is it possible that all the waters acted on should be prevented leaving the earth and flying away to the moon? If the moon has power of attraction sufficient to lift the waters of the earth at all, even a single inch from their deepest receptacles, where the earth's attraction is much the greater, there is nothing in the theory of attraction of gravitation to prevent her taking to herself all the waters which come within her influence. Let the smaller body once overcome the power of the larger, and the power of the smaller becomes greater than when it first operated, because the matter acted on is nearer to it. Proximity is greater, and therefore power is greater. How then can the waters of the ocean immediately underneath the moon flow towards the shores, and so cause a flood tide? Water flows, it is said, through the law of gravity, or attraction of the earth's center. Is it possible then for the moon, having once overcome the power of the earth, to let go her hold upon the waters? Through the influence of a power which she has conquered, and which therefore is less than her own? The above and